Welcome to another high-powered episode of the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder from NEC Code, coming to you live from the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado. Joined by my awesome co-host over there, Big Sky Country, Texas. Giving old hook and horns for the Mile High City. Appreciate you, James, the creator and CEO of Stackable Electrical Education. And it's always awesome when I hear that we're in the conversation with NFPA and the Standards Council, and man, that's pretty exciting news. I mean, you know, like I said, especially I think they transcribed your comments, not mine, but you know, mine was mostly like, I agree, because it's hard to keep up with the big name like Stahlcup over there, you know.
Well, what happened was it was based on really got started with the definition of outlet and then 62554, which you got in there, and I made some comments back on that in the second draft and stuff. But where really, you know, I saw somebody put something in 110.3b, they were fixing a couple things, and when they did that, I was able to comment and send in a second revision, and that's where all hell broke loose. And I was looking at, and this was after the fact, after the first revision, that you had the ECD boys over, the Electrical Comedy Department. They were trying to tell us that the code overrides the listing and labeling. I told them they're full of crap. So once I saw that in 110.3b, I decided at that point I was going to write in, and I wrote exactly what they said. You know, I didn't give any explanation or anything. I mean, I did a little bit, but I didn't go into depth on explaining everything. And I just wanted to see how they would vote. Well, they came in and they said the NEC supersedes and overrides the NEC. And that's when we've had our podcasts and stuff. And I specifically stated on this podcast, hey, David.
Welcome in, David. Thanks for joining us tonight.
I said, anybody that's watching this, if NFPA, anybody who's watching this, you need to listen to what I'm saying. And you go to a court of law, I'm just telling you, blah, 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 this is what's going to happen. You know, because, you know, and I just gave a good example, because we've actually have had Linux call us before, and we told them, hey, just put in your manufacturer's instructions, no GFCI protection, get the listing and labeling for that. I said, there's no reason for it. And if it's hardwired, and they're like, really? I said, yeah. I said, your listing and labeling overrides the code. Well, we made the comment at that point, and we basically said, if the AC manufacturer tells you no listing and labeling, and the code book says, oh, well, we override that, and you got these breaker manufacturers that are pushing to put GFCI protection on it, and say it's here in the heat of Texas, and the breaker trips because you got incompatibility issues, everything else, then all of a sudden it trips. Who's responsible? Well, it's not going to be the manufacturer, because they told you not to do it. So now when they go to lawsuit and they're looking at things, what's going to end up happening is they'll bring whoever they want to bring into the lawsuit. And they can look at NFPA and looking at that code making panel and saying, hey, y'all said it overrides this listing and labeling. And if that's the case, now who becomes responsible? And when you're in a court of law and you got a jury there and they're listening to this saying, you're doing something different from what they told you to do, they're not responsible. Now we're going to decide who's responsible. Well, that gets in, like I've stated, if I'm a contractor and they're telling me put on, I say, okay, I got no problem putting that on there, but you give me a letter telling me to do it.
Sure.
And I keep them letters. And then when I go to court and I say, nope.
Looks like Shark Week is back. Oh, yes. Daniel, dude, you ain't winning this week, man.
I don't know.
You ain't winning this week. Oh, man. Daniel is back for the hunt. He smells blood in the water. Dude, that's what he did. He didn't come here last week because he wanted you to get this easy win and get all cocky.
He knew his own Avengers, I guess, and he knew I'd tear him up. But anyway, when you go to court and the jury's sitting there listening to it, I can just tell you, they're going to look at that and they're going to say, no, wait a minute. The contractor goes in and says, the inspector told me to do it. Now you've got the city responsible because they told them to do it. And basically, as a contractor, you're showing, hey, manufacturer's instructions tell me not to do this. I can tell you, most jurisdictions, they're going to tell you, don't put it on there, because the listing and labeling state such. But we got these other people over there, they're trying to tell everybody, oh, no, you got to put GFCI protection on, the code overrides it. Well, now they're at the Standards Council, and there was a huge uproar that took place just over the comments I stated. And guess what they did? They transcribed what I said and went through all of this. So I'm sure somebody got an earful, and, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so the one thing that I really love, and we went through this, we've been doing this for years, James. And the one thing that's so cool is that I know that you've been through the whole process. I hear all these other guys like, oh yeah, I've been a special expert, and you could sue the contractor, and oh yeah, I've been a special expert, you sue the inspector, and if you're a bad inspector and you're enforcing things that aren't code, then you're a bad inspector, da, da, da. That's not the way this all works. Like, we know, we're out there in the field, we actually see firsthand. So you've done it from like a litigation standpoint. I've actually been on a jury trial as a juror with this litigation from contractors that did stuff, and I know the hierarchy of who gets in trouble, and this one case that I was on, it was a real estate agent that was recommending a sewer replacement. And so this company got hired, came in there to replace the sewer. There's nothing wrong with it. So they ended up charging them like $25,000 to put a new sewer in. They didn't even need it. Well, who's that on? That's on the real estate company. That's on whoever. You can't sit there and go sue. That's what they were doing. They were suing the contractor for charging them $25,000 when they didn't need it. That's not the contractor's responsibility. That's not the contractor's liability. The contractor was hired by the real estate company to put a new sewer in. That's what they did. They need to get paid. You ate the steak. You ordered the steak. You took one bite. You paid for the steak. It's the same thing. And that's what I said when I was in jury, is when they were like, whose liability is this? The contractor gets paid. Contractor did exactly... They complied with everything they were supposed to comply with. They got it past inspections. They did underground. Did everything. It's not their fault they didn't need a sewer, know. And so that kind of stuff, it goes like shit runs downhill. But the whole thing is that's kind of what I'm kind of going with when it comes to this whole legal responsibility thing. And King James knows this. I actually submitted a public input for 62554 as a joke because I thought it was going to be rejected. It actually passed, and now all these guys are in an uproar because it passed like unanimously and all this stuff, Why did it pass unanimously? Probably because we have a bunch of these manufacturers that are trying to push this up in there that's on the electrical side of this. I don't know. I mean, you tell me that, you have the whole entire electric vehicle people over there, Tesla, ChargePoint, and they're outnumbered by these people on these code panels. Just kind of like what you said about code making panel 2, code making panel 17, all these other. I think 17's kind of against this one, but you have code making panel 2, and then code making panel 12, and I don't know that code making panel 12 really has too much, push on this one. I mean, maybe they do, but I don't know. I just haven't heard too much comments from Code Making Panel 12 as far as pushback on anything. There was so many that I did not like in 625. I mean, the qualified person is just stupid. That is just a really ridiculous one.
Well, the only thing I'll say about all of it is, it's just, because I read some comments when they were attacking us and stuff, and, Jesse Gudea, that's a guy, he damn sure doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But
he said I wasn't intelligent.
Yeah,
I mean,
Well,
I got it passed, dude. Like, yeah, it might not be intelligent, but I got what I wanted.
well, he made the comment, and he said that Bill submitted that, and he had no technical substantiation behind submit. First of all, let me tell you
Exactly.
something. Anybody can submit anything and put an explanation why they think something needs to be changed. The majority of all the public inputs that come in, there's no technical merit or anything behind it. Usually when you're getting into technical merit and stuff is when you're proving you need to have something like GFCI protection. But yet that same guy, he didn't have a problem with them putting 210.8F in, and there was no technical merit substantiation or anything behind it.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to
Just like we've
say.
been saying about picking and choosing. They're
That's
just
right.
picking and choosing.
You pick and choose where you want to apply it, and that you cannot do that. And I think everything that I'll just say this, they've made the statement, nobody listens to your podcast, you're a bunch of freaking idiots, you're a disgrace to the electrical industry, blah, blah, blah. But yet we're the first podcast. They come in and they transcript what was said and present it before the Standards Council. In other words, what they're trying, we're sort of like Trump in a way. You got the liberal media the whole time just disparaging you over and over and over. And if y'all go on any of these groups and look, we're the only ones they attack. Period. That's it. They're not attacking anybody else. It's just us constantly. Well, the reason they're doing it is because we have this podcast and we're telling people the facts, and we're giving, some of it is like opinion, but we're showing you the text and showing you based on the black and white text that's there, how do you read it? And that's what they don't like.
We're the only ones that said there's no outlet, and that really made them mad. Hey, I got a little announcement really quick. We had somebody come by the studio.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Dude.
Broncos country, let's ride.
We had Russell Wilson come by, and he was just like, dude.
Broncos country, let's ride.
So, that's awesome because we have Monday Morning Coach coming back. And, and dude, David, that was actually
I agreed with that change.
Yeah, it aligned with everything. Like what we're saying is it should have never even been there in the first place, and I do agree with that change because there should be it's really hard to go there, David, because there was no consistency in that whole section to begin with. Where is the breaking point on 50 amp, 60 amp? Because, oh, dude. Yeah, dude, Daniel, that is going to be a good matchup, man. I can't wait to see, I would really like to see the Cowboys kind of pound it on the ground and kind of beat up the Eagles' run defense. But, we're going to see some stuff. Looks like Monday Morning Coach could be coming back soon. One of these next Mondays coming up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when. But, David, the thing about that is that there's a breaking point when it comes to cord and plug connected. And cord and plug connected, I think breaking point's at 60 amps. I think anything 60 amps or greater cannot be cord and plug connected. Anything 50 amps and lesser can be cord and plug connected. So I think that's kind of where that breaking point comes in. Well, which one of those is the outlet? Where is there an outlet? There's always an outlet, but if you hardwire a 60 amp one currently, you don't need to have GFCI protection. But if you hardwire a 50 amp one, somehow magically that triggers 210.8F, So I think that was kind of a problem there, and I think you solved that with your public input. I thought that was a good one, but to me, there's a lot of inconsistencies, and I think that's why I submitted a lot of my public inputs was to expose some of those inconsistencies, And,
well, I'll tell you, the one portion that I did not like is they put 210.8F in, and then all of a sudden everything's fine, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's got to be a TIA for the air conditioner unit. There was no mention of that or anything. It wasn't presented when they put it in there. It was after the fact. And
True.
I think that was dubious of what they did.
I agree.
They made it
why
like, oh, we just figured that out. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I don't believe that.
The thing I would point out that makes it dubious is that this 210.8F is supposed to be for electrical safety of all equipment that's installed outdoors of a dwelling unit. Well, just like we mentioned before, they're not sitting there out there squawking about gate controllers that you have to drive your ground rod and everything like that. Like, there's some of this equipment's not compatible. You know, there's like lift stations, sump pump equipment. There's a lot of different equipment that's not compatible with Class A, but they don't focus on that because they tried to pass this based on unfortunate incident with a child being killed at age 10, which is horrible. But that was in 2007. So my whole point was, okay, so why didn't you guys bring it up? Like, if they would have had like a rejected public input in like 2011 or 2014 or 2017 or something like that, then I would be like, you know what? Yeah, you know, this probably should have gotten addressed a long time ago, but they let it slide for 5 cycles. I mean,
You know what gets me?
that's ridiculous.
Why, if it was the equipment, then why wasn't the listing and labeling changed to include that GFCI protection?
True.
That,
Yeah, and
you know,
and
because it's not the
supposedly
equipment, it was the wiring method.
supposedly Chucky B already said that the the manufacturers already put GFCI in there now, but I don't think he's know what he's talking about because I guarantee it's GFPE.
Yeah, they don't have that. It's GFPE, and all you got to do, and I'll tell you what they're doing right now. Go look in the code, and you'll see now they're talking about the different types of classes of GFCI protection.
Yeah,
Just not
dude,
class A.
look at GFPE. It's actually been proven to be safer. GFPE. Oh, I thought that wasn't the same as personnel protection, but GFPE is actually saving lives. It's doing a good job. You know what the problem is that what people don't realize is you have GFCI where the overcurrent device opens with a personnel contact, and oh yeah, that's correct, David. David talks about the TIA for the HVAC equipment, which has to do with a heat pump for the pool. So that's kind of something we gotta look at too. But then, what is the real problem with this is that they're saying, okay, well, this is a danger to personnel, but GFPE is basically the same concept. So if there's a fault in the equipment, then what happens is the equipment opens the overcurrent device prior to human contact. So it's basically the same thing. I mean, they've been using this concept worldwide, and like the problem I have with this SPGFCI, the problem I have with this, David, is that they are like, okay, so we're gonna give you a solution, and the solution is you buy a more expensive product from us. To me, that's a problem in the code. Like, you shouldn't be able to put that language in there to be like, okay, we don't have to give you an exception. Like, an exception means you don't have to do it. Exception means that there's no technical merit, there's no problem, anything like that. They don't want that. It's a choose your own adventure. You either buy a GFCI Class A from us, or you buy an SP GFCI. You have 2 choices. You don't have the choice of not buying any product from them. I think that's a problem. That's my opinion. You know, you guys can hate on me, you can trash me, whatever you want to do. I don't care. But to me, I think that's a problem where they're like, oh, guess what? We could raise the cost of your job by $100,000 because we're code making panel 2. I don't agree with that. If they had, like they always say, we had Tommy D on here saying this, if we had a body count, then we could do this. But they did it without the body count this time in 2026. You know, I don't agree with that. I mean, it's horrible to say we have a body count, but they have 0 body count. So how can they have increasing this protection level and say, oh yeah, you could use a SP GFCI. They're saying, oh, you could use an SP GFCI and stuff we've never had SP GFCI on before in any other previous code cycle. So how is that fair? You know, I mean, and then to take it a step further, David, they can't even provide me with that equipment. Like if I say, hey, I need a 50 amp SP GFCI 2 pole, I need 10 of them tomorrow. They're like, all right, we'll get it to you in December. You know, like what? Like, dude, I need them like in October. You know, like I don't need them in December. And like, so then what happens is you get the HJ to give you allowance to be like, you know what, dude, just don't even. You know, I'll be like, hey, I'll put it on a regular thermal mag, and then I'll get the breakers in December, and then I'll put them in, and you can come back and inspect. And they're like, nah, we're not doing that because it's just this decoder ring, choose your own adventure thing that's just out of control, and I don't agree with it. That's where I'm at. I don't know where you're at, James. But
when you get in, you look at the Class C type. Those are to be used in circuits where you have no conductor over 300 volts, and that's AC, of course, to ground.
True.
And it's where you also have reliable equipment grounding or double insulation type, and it's going to be rated greater than 6 milliamps to 15 milliamps. Okay, and when you get to Class D, that's
man, like that SPGFCI, like that. I think that's where I get into the problem with the SPGFCI is that essentially that's what it's supposed to be, but like SPGFCI can go from 10 milliamps to 100 milliamps. You know, like SPGFCI is adjustable. Like you can use a Class E on SPGFCI.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You get to Class D, that's for circuits with one or more conductors over 300 volts to ground. Okay, right. And it's going to tell you that is for your ground fault current, where it's 20 milliamps or higher, and you have a ground fault current that is less than 15 milliamps. And then when you get to a Class E, that's of course for conductors over 300 volts, but it's going to be rated 20 milliamps or higher, and it's going to tell you the same thing, that the ground fault current is less than 15 milliamps. And those are your 3 different types that you have, and based on that, you pick out the type of special purpose GFCI you use, and they've been using these for a long time. I mean, this isn't something new. Where you get into the problem is when they started this off, they were doing Class A protection and requiring Class A, and it wasn't compatible. And I told them that, and you remember they told me I didn't know what I was talking about. And then they come back and said, well, that'll be changed in the standard, and blah, blah. I said, no, it won't. I said, none of this is going to, I said, you'd be lucky if you were able to get this through by 2029. And here we go. It's not happening in 2026 either.
So just so everyone knows, the way that the code making process goes is there's public input stage, which me and King James submitted public inputs. There's the public comment stage, which is when they reject your public input, then you're allowed to make comments on it. Then you go into like the NITMAM and the CAM stage. So you submit NITMAM, turns into a CAM. They go into the CAM, so the CAM's already went through. Then it goes up to the Standards Council. Well, this is a part of the process where they're having problems. The things aren't going the way that they want them to go. Like, they thought this would just go through smooth, and they would just squash everybody who submitted, and that everything would go smooth. Well, the ones that they're not squashing is me and King James, because we attacked them on a level that they weren't used to, and we went after them, and we're like, why are you saying that this and this and this, and to me, honestly, I think it's cool because I submitted a public input where I added one word. So basically in 62554 it says all receptacles installed for the connection of electric vehicle service equipment shall be GFCI protected. I agree with that. I agree with that statement. But I don't agree with all receptacles and outlets connected for the installation, and so that's the part I don't agree with, but it passed, so
Somebody,
dude, what's up, John? Dude, happy Thursday, brother. Happy podcast day to you, sir.
You too, brother.
Yo.
One of the things I heard, it has nothing to do with arc energy reduction at all. Arc energy reduction, you're going to look over at 230.67 and 230.87, and then it's going to be compatible where it's going into NFPA 70E. All's arc energy reduction, that's where you're using the different, what it gets into is the clearing time of the overcurrent device. Okay?
Yeah, and one thing too, David, is don't confuse SPGFCI with ground fault protection. So ground fault protection of equipment and SPGFCI are two totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another problem that I have with what they're doing. They're muddying the waters. They're making it seem like that we're trying to be unsafe by not wanting an SPGFCI. Like, a lot of equipment still doesn't work with SPGFCI.
That's right.
I've seen heat trace that doesn't work with SPGFCI.
Well, it goes back to things that I was saying, and what I heard, what does it say? Supposedly a petrifying base didn't have enough power to run. Just found that out through the union. Didn't have enough power.
Wow, they need to rebuild the grid or something, huh, Joe?
Yeah, something. That's
Wow.
interesting. But
all right, a big shout out to the union.
One of the things that I heard is they were down there. Somebody was arguing about the outlet, and they were using what I said on here, that they don't believe there's an outlet, and their argument was they said
the gear's wrong.
Gear.
Oh, okay.
They were saying if you take an outlet, if you say an outlet's at utilization equipment, and I've got a fixture there, the fixture is utilization equipment. How can I have an outlet in the ceiling and another outlet, an outlet feeding an outlet? How can you do that? And they were reference 314.27. And let me explain to everybody. This goes back to a lot of things I've stated on this podcast over and over and over and over, is you have to take the code as a whole. And when you take it as a whole and you start looking at it, just taking some definition and trying to apply it to everything, that's not the way it works. The code has never worked that way.
David says, seems that the SPGFCI is covering for the GFPE somehow. I just don't think that can be documented with a code reference, David. I mean, it could, but the whole problem is that the waters are muddied with this whole personnel protection versus equipment protection. What is the code's purpose? The code's purpose is to protect persons, property, and equipment. Well, you can't have both. You can't have all of it. You have to make a cutoff and say, you know what? if we have this 4160 motor, we're going to have to sacrifice personnel if they're in the way of this equipment. We have to have this motor start to pump gas to this cryo tower. Let's just say I'm out in gas and oil. We have to pump gas to this cryo tower. If there's a person in the way of that, sorry, buddy, you shouldn't have gotten in the way of that. That is a process that has to happen. And it's sad if somebody loses their life and they're in the line of fire of that equipment starting. Yeah, that sucks. They should know that 4160 is a powerful motor, and that is going to suck you in, blow you up, chew you out, and spit you out. That sucks. I would not want anybody to be in the line of fire of that. But we cannot sit there and say, you know what, if for some reason Joe Blow doesn't have clearance, he opens up the gear when he's not supposed to, that he's not going to get blowed up. You know, like, we can't do that. You can't do that in process equipment. It won't work. And so it's kind of a fine line. I saw it from industrial. I know King James has done industrial. He sees it too. We've had, I know James has probably seen this too. We've had arc incidents or arc energy where you can't even be like within like 100 feet of the equipment when you first turn it on. Like, you don't put on PPE and go turn this stuff on. Like, this isn't residential. Like, I mean, this is like a nuclear bomb that you're getting ready to drop the hammer on, you know? Like, if something's wrong, it's going to blow up, and it's going to blow up big, you know? Like, you're not going to be like right next to it, like checking it out or anything, you know?
Can I make a comment on this?
Yeah.
SPGFCI and GFBE are two totally different things.
100%.
Okay? Because if you go, and let me give y'all the sections so y'all know where to go. Go look at 210.13, 215.10, and 230.95. That's where you're going to pick up your ground fault protection of equipment. And when you're looking at the branch circuit feeder service, it's going to get in and it's going to talk about where you have your branch circuit feeder or service where you're going to a disconnecting means that's rated 1,000 amps or more.
True.
Okay? And that's not how SPGFCI is. So if somebody's telling y'all that those are the same thing, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So SPGFCI is for branch circuits. Okay, when you look at ground fault protection of equipment, that's where you're getting where you got your disconnecting means 1,000 amps or more, and it's the same language except for changing branch circuit feeder and services. Looking at 210.13, 215.10, and 230.95.
Dude, it's so awesome when we have people actually listen to King James, man. It's so cool.
Well, you know,
thanks for joining us, David. It's so much fun when we get to just hang out and, you know, talk code.
And let me explain something y'all are also going to see. And we actually showed this and tied it in. When you go look at 210.13 and when the 2026 comes out, they used to have it in there and they had exceptions and things like that. You're not going to see as many exceptions in there. They're going to be moved down. And what's going to happen is you're going to have a 210.13A that deals with your solidly grounded Y electrical systems. Then you pick up 210.13B, and that's going to deal with your solidly grounded DC electrical systems. Okay? And they're going to be separated now into their own subsections. Okay?
Right.
So there's going to be some refixing up here of the way they want to lay it out. But if you look at those three sections there, that'll get you in the right direction.
So one thing that me and King James kind of talked about a little bit here and there is that there's a lot of places where they separated things and they didn't need to. There's places where they separated things they probably should have, you know. So that's what's going to be important for like the 2026 code change. And even in like the 2029 code change, they even do it even more. They separate it even more. And the thing is that when you like learn code from King James, you will learn that a lot of the same things mean the same things. But this is a good case of where it shows where they separate SPGFCI with GFPE. GFPE is a code requirement for solidly grounded systems. SPGFCI, I don't even know if it's even going to stick that much as like a code requirement, even moving forward. Like if they lose this whole outlet thing, I mean it's gonna be bad for SPGFCI. Like I don't.
Well,
I was blown away when they tried to put SPGFCI on receptacles. Like, how many receptacles that you have are over 300 volts to ground? Like it just like they tried to add it to like cord and plug connected, and it doesn't exist. Like the only way you could really do that's hardwired.
Let me jump in for a sec. This is my understanding. They don't want to argue with the code making panel members. So the argument they're going with right now is what I stated, and they're going with the listing and labeling. If they win that and they say that that the NEC does not override that listing and labeling, then the manufacturer can come in on these hardwired pieces of equipment. They've done the testing and everything and say no GFCI protection, it's done. It doesn't make a crap what code making panel 2 or any of the other members think. And that goes back to exactly what I'm saying. And I'm gonna tell everybody this. Let me go forward. Right here, this is where you go.
There's a link. I should have posted it. Sorry about that.
Well, the 2026 is on there, and it's fully linkable. And I think Sunday.
I know. I saw you just send it to me. Like, I just want to let everyone know out there, we're finally even. There's no more beef between me and King James with him jipping me on code changes.
Don't worry, I'll find something to get you pissed off about. Just give me time. But the great thing is we covered 281 changes. Nice. That's how much change has taken place in this code. I'm gonna give you just an example of something. If I was referring like in the code and we're showing you going to a controller and we're telling you go look at 430.83A1, well that section's changed. Now it's 430.82A. It's right. Little things like this that's been moved. If we're doing full calculations and you're used to Article 220, now you're going to be in Article 120 for all of that. So, and there's a 50% discount if you get it right now. I'm going to leave it up for about a month because I've already sent everything over to the printer. They're getting ready to start printing the hard copies, have it out by the mid-September. Let me say something else. And this is something everybody needs to think about. As long as I've been doing it, from what I remember, I used to get the code book in September. Okay? Code books on the NFPA website right now, they're not shipping until October is what they're saying. I think something's about to change. Yes.
So just so everyone knows out there, in the 2026, they're going to have a new Annex L. And Annex L is going to be the drawn out 2029, Yeah,
I'm not looking for it either, but we'll see if they do it. It ain't.
That's rough.
There's a lot of people that are not liking this. So, but I'm just telling everybody, you're probably, if you look at another code change book, you're probably going to get maybe 100, 125 changes. I'm telling you right now, the reason we had to do so many, because there are so many changes, and we have a lot of references that we put in. We did the illustrations specifically in certain ways to reference to a lot of these other sections that had changed. So you keep up, and everybody knows when you look at our publications, we have arrows pointing, we'll have call outs and have all kinds of sections. The reason we do that, because you have to get familiar with the code and where you're picking up certain information. And if there's any other NFPA standards that tie in, we also add that information. I can tell you right now, I don't know what the hell's gotten into Dad, but he's doing the design book right now. And he is adding all kinds of stuff. I was just watching him. I came in here today. He had this little book. I mean, it was probably 50 pages, but it had all of this history that he was going back looking. He's adding a whole bunch of history back into it. And the reason he's doing that is because we're getting people like them over the ECD boys telling y'all all this crap, not looking back at what they used to say. And the reason it was put in, it was based on documentation of technical merit. And you're getting people on there now that are voting on stuff, don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to give y'all an example of something.
I know what your dad's getting into.
Code making panel 14. This has been quite a few years back. They covered hazardous locations and all of this stuff. And I'm telling y'all that the changes they made through all them years, they had people on there didn't know what the hell they were doing. That's a fact. And I can prove this.
I believe it.
Well, I ain't proving it. I'm telling you what happened because my dad will come over and tell you the same thing. At that time and still this time, they do not allow special experts on the code making panel. Okay? Dad's independent. Okay? He votes the way that he feels. He doesn't have some organization or company telling him how he's going to vote.
Well, you're not a special expert because Weedman says so.
Yeah. Even though I've already been ordained by federal court that I am. But they asked him to chair that code making panel. And then they added a whole lot of new members. And what they did, they come in and they did a whole bunch of task groups going through there, correcting all the mistakes that were in there. And they went in, fixed it all and everything. And they did a lot of work that had to deal with custom made equipment, because when you get into the oil industry, a lot of stuff you can't purchase. They have to do it themselves. And so you get what's called a UL 508 and 508A shop that comes in and does field applied testing, labeling on there. That's done by standards that are put out by UL. I'm telling y'all this because I was there when we did it, and Dad and I wrote the inspection procedure for all of the Alaskan pipeline and here in the United States at their pump stations. But yet I don't know. But yet Dad and I don't know what the hell we're talking about. But and I'm telling y'all, this is where it gets into that I state over and over that the code does not override the listing and labeling. They take the code into consideration when they're doing this, because if you go over and look at 1910.7C, yeah, he's going after
you. Get a star. You get a star. You get a star. All right, everyone I'll
gets say
a
this.
Star
when that old man, boy, he gets his mind made up and he's wanting to do something, he's full tilt. He's actually been working 6 to 8 hours a day. He's just in here having fun, and he's putting all this stuff in. And then in the evening, we'll go eat or watch TV or something. He'll start telling me about what he put in. He goes, I forgot about this one thing. He goes, I put that in there as a note in the design book. I'm like, Dad, the design publication right now is 2 volumes. You're going to keep going. It's going to be 10 volumes,
Right?
But
yeah.
he just,
dude, it's truly a joy when I'm able to pick his brain and where I'm at. I'm a greenhorn when it comes to the code as far as from his standpoint, but it's just so cool when I'm like, hey, where'd this myth come from? I heard this myth over here, and he's like, oh yeah, Snyder, I heard that. I came over from Missouri, and there was a Spectre over there, and I'm just like, what? And you're sitting there like, what? What? How'd that get started? And then he just sit there and just go on for hours about, the wet location, 1968, and then, you know what I mean? They had a code change, 1971. It changed all the wet location stuff. They didn't have wet location fittings, and you know what I mean? I'm just like, damn, that's
I'm gonna give you examples like Jeremy saying, you said that the code only applied to residential. I said, no, I never said that before 1971. What I said was the code was written where it applied mainly to residential. That's where it was at. and then it was from 71 to 75. And if you go and look at that point, that's when they started adding cable trays and things like that that dealt with commercial industrial. That's a fact. And and that's what gets me a little upset with them guys over at ECD. They take your words and twist it to say you said so and so, and I'm like, that's not how I said it. And I just got to where I just don't even argue with him anymore. I'm just like, whatever, dude. You're nothing but a liar. And this coming from the guy called all Texas electricians nothing but glorified ditch diggers. I mean, how dare him even say that? It's basically that elitist attitude he has, compared to everybody else. But anyway, we need to move on, man.
It's coming from a guy who is with an organization that represents 6% of the electrical workforce in the electrical field. So I'd rather be on that 94%, like me and you, representing that 94%. So we're gonna move on to this clip of the week segment. I just want to ask King James this. So we ran into this situation, and there's a lot of the code guys that are against 250 122B. So this one actually, in my opinion, makes sense. So the situation we have some rooftop equipment, AHUs, RTUs, whatever you want to call them. They're air handling units, and I see on the drawing that they have number 6 copper ungrounded conductor, and they have a number 10 equipment grounded conductor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why are you guys doing this? And then, I went and looked at the minimum circuit capacity was 32 amps. So I was like, why are you guys doing this? You could, per code, you could do this with the number 10. What people don't realize, when they give you that minimum circuit capacity, you go off the 70 degree C column. So 35 amps is on number 10. So you could do it with number 10. So just go to a number 8. You're upsized good, whatever. I don't know why, but they upsized to a number 6, right? So I told them right away when I saw that, I was like, that's a code violation, Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Number 10's rated for the motor. So I kind of wanted to get your live reaction on what you thought as far as this situation. To me, I don't see why you're pulling number 6 anyway when number 8's perfectly fine. But in this case, in my opinion, from just being a lowly installer, that they should either decrease the ungrounded conductor to number 8 or increase the grounding conductor to a number 8 based on the ungrounded conductors. But I just want to get your opinion live, see what you think, and it's kind of a new little thing that I just wanted to do. Just see what you think that should be done. The prints show number 6 with the number 10. You just pull it number 6, number 10, go for it. And then if it's messed up, then blame the engineer. What would be your approach on that?
Did you have a clip you were wanting to play?
Yeah. Well, I just want to see what I can play the clip first to see.
Yeah, go ahead and play the clip. Let me hear what they say.
It's kind of embarrassing the way Tommy approaches it, but let's do it.
Willie says, I'm wearing a large commercial building, and for some reason the electrical engineer has a number 6 gauge copper with a 10 for an AHJ with a 10. I'm not sure what that means. If he routed them in the same raceway, that's minimum circuit capacity, a 6 gauge copper with a number 10 for an AHU. Air handling unit. A 6 gauge copper with a number 10. I'm not sure what that means. 32 amps. That's one case where I think 250-122B makes sense.
I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but let me.
In my opinion, the ungrounded conductor is rated at an amp capacity of 65 amps. So now when you use a number 10 equipment ground, then now that equipment ground is not rated for 65 amps. So that's where I think 250 122B makes sense. Tommy D thinks they need to delete it. But at the same time, what I'm making the case for is this is one case where I think it makes sense that it is a code violation and it shouldn't be done. I think that either you decrease the ungrounded conductor size because you're intentionally upsizing it for no reason, and you need to increase the grounding conductor proportionally per 250 122B.
So what did he say? The breaker size was 60 amp.
So it's not even, it has nothing to do with the overcurrent protection device. The overcurrent protection device, I believe, is 60 amp.
Okay.
But the thing is that the minimum circuit amp capacity is 35.
Okay. It does.
So
I don't.
upsize the overcurrent protection device. So let's just say that the overcurrent protection device is let's just say it's a 40.
Okay.
So you have a 40 amp overcurrent protection device, you have a 60 amp disconnect, and you have a 30 amp or 35 amp or 32 amp minimum circuit amp capacity. You have number 6 with a number 10 equipment ground.
Okay. I agree with that. And let me explain why. If you go over and look at table 250 122, I think it's 20 to 60. If you have a 20 amp or 20 amp overcurrent device from 15 20 amp, you need a number 12, 15 is number 14. Then it goes from 20 to 60, which is a number 10. So I first of all, I don't even know what the argument would be there because apparently he didn't know what he was looking at. But
Right.
Even so, if I wanted to go up on the size of the equipment ground, if I look at 250 122A, all I have to do is make it the same size as the conductors, the ungrounded conductors going over there, because it tells you there that the equipment ground never is required to be larger than that. So you can take care of that. Now,
True.
when I look at 250 122B, this is different than what he's talking about. This is increased in size. So,
Yeah.
you know, you can go.
Because the number 8 would be sufficient.
Yes. And that's why I say it was sufficient for what was there, but it didn't need to be larger than the circuit conductors anyway. But
True.
if I have a long distance that I'm going and say I'm 300 foot away, now this is where you get into looking at increased in size. And the way that you go about this is, I'll just give you an example of something. Let's just say that I have a panel board and I'm going and I'm just taking a feeder, for instance, over to another panel board. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that this other panel board, I'm setting it at 175 amps. Okay. If I go over and look at table 310.16, the size of the ungrounded phase conductors are going to be 2-aught, which are good for 175 amps. But due to the voltage drop that's going to be there, that's where you pick up 250 122B. So what you're going to do at this point is you're going to go up to the next size. You may have to go up 2 sizes. We don't know till you do the calculation. But you would take and you would go up. Let's just say I did the calculation. I had to go up the next size, which is a 3-aught, which is good for 200 amps. Now, for me to determine the size equipment ground, what's going to happen is if I'm going over there and I look at
you'd have to use the multiplier of 187, right?
Well, not for that, no.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
But if I go look at table 250 122, I think it goes up to 200 amps. That's going to be a number 6 conductor. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to go over and you're going to look at chapter 9, table 8, and you're going to go over and you're going to pick up the circular mill for that 3-aught and that 2-aught conductor. And you're going to take the circular mill of that 3-aught, and then you're going to take the circular mill of that 2-aught and divide it into the circular mill of that 3-aught, and that's going to give you a multiplier. Then you're going to look down, you're going to get the circular mill for that number 6, add that multiplier on there, do the calculation. It'll tell you what the new circular mill is, and I can already tell you because I've done this before. It'll take you up to a number 4,
Right.
based on the calculation, and you won't exceed the circular mill of that number 4. Now, that's what 250-122B is for. Okay.
So can you tell me? Can you tell all the viewers out here of our podcast like the reason why they have 250-122B? Because the reason I think that it's if you have like an ungrounded conductor that is rated larger than what the overcurrent device, whatever the equipment ground can open for the overcurrent device. But to me, honestly, that's what I've seen in my travels is like you don't want an ungrounded conductor that's rated for 65 amps and you only have a number 10.
Yeah, they're sizing it based on the size of the conductor that's there. I mean, if you look, when Dad did this a while back, and he was going over, and he took, to give y'all an example, when they're, let's see, seems the issue is with the increased circuit conductors, the JRMs. Yeah, it's increasing the size of the ungrounded phase conductors, and that's why you have to calculate for the equipment ground. And if you go and look, when they developed the tables for like the grounding electrode system, Dad gave the multiplier 187, and what he said, they took the overcurrent protection devices that were there and put that on there, and based on its circular mills, how they determined what the size was going to be for those conductors for your grounding electrode system. So it makes naturally sense that you want to make sure that if you're increasing conductor size, you want to be able to increase it to match the conductors that are going over there.
I do kind of agree with you, David, that 250-122B is for voltage drop, but not always. I mean,
I'd say 99% of the time, that's what it's really for.
Like 90%. Like, dude, I don't know. These electrical engineers, they just upsize conductors all the time, just randomly. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know why they had to do this. Like, dude, number 8s have worked just fine on this whole entire building, They'd be just totally fine. And they're like, do it per plan. I'm like, all right, we'll get us some number 6s. We'll pull them. We'll do it, whatever. But I don't know that I agree with it 100%.
If I get in and look at this, and you look at everything that you have to do as far as voltage drop when it deals with your ungrounded phase conductors. If I go in and I look at my grounded conductors, do I have to take into consideration for voltage drop for grounded conductors too? Sure you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little bit of a loaded question because it kind of comes into the engineering. Like, I asked my apprentice, like, all right, you have A phase drawing 5 amps, you have B phase drawing 5 amps, you have C phase drawing 5 amps. How much load's on the neutral?
But still,
0.
You have to look that you're going that distance. The code requires you to take that into consideration when you have that voltage drop.
Yeah, I could actually believe that David says 250-122B needs clarification for voltage drop in his honest opinion. That's true.
That's why you look through the Stalk-Up publications, because we show you all that. You okay, brother? He's coughing it up. I don't know what got into him. You okay? Okay, he's off. But
yeah, I muted it. I tried to mute it, but I missed it. I missed the boat on the mute. Hey, I'm just actually trying not to choke on my fantasy draft, so that's all it is.
Okay.
That's all it's coming down to.
I just think when you're looking at all this, that is how you go about doing it. Matter of fact, when
All
it
right.
first come out, you can go back and look. We covered that change and we showed you exactly how to do that calculation. Matter of fact, I looked at all, because I always check our competition, see what they're doing, and the our publication was the only one showed you how to do the full calculation.
True.
That's a fact. I can go and show it. And
So if you want, we can actually skip the myth tonight since we went so long, whatever, and we could just move on to like the Willie Quiz or whatever. However you want to do this show, I don't care. I mean, we could go to myth of the week. We could do whatever.
we're already
I
at
don't
an hour.
care.
Let's go ahead and get the meme knocked out.
All right.
Here we go.
Dude, it's so funny. Like, everyone was laughing. I got like over like 200, 300 reactions on Electrical Wall of Shame group. So it's really cool. Thanks so much, everyone, for believing in the Willie experience. But it was really cool because like I actually stole it from Seth. And Seth actually made one. It was pretty good. And then I went and I stole it from him, and then I went and made my own, with AI, But it's pretty cool because the one thing is that I want apprentices to like pay attention, and just kind of like look at it, and just, make sure, And yeah, dude,
Yes,
that's a good
that's right.
point. That's a good point, David.
That's
yeah,
right.
it's the low impedance path. That's what we want.
That's right.
So.
And it goes back, it's like when I get in and I'm teaching grounding and I go through and I break it down and I always tell everybody to get it back to 1 point.
True.
Why do you do that? It's a low impedance path back to that 1 point. That's where your grounding system is. There is such a thing as overgrounding a system.
True.
I remember we did this job one time. I never forget this. They had a huge freaking basement, and they literally had a ground that went all the way around the inside of that basement, and everything came down and hit this ground. And then they took on the floors and they basically created like a halo ground in a way. But what happened was, as it would try to come down, it may pick up a frame or something that was grounded closer, blowing board stuff instead of going back down to 1 point. And
True.
they were so proud of that grounding job, but they couldn't figure out why they were blowing stuff. We come out and look at it, what the hell is this? And they had to go in and take all that stuff out. So
just so you guys know, that's actually the definition of objectionable current. Even though objectionable current is not defined.
250.
Objectionable current will be where you have a shorter path to the source and longer paths, and so that you have a lot more current that's going to want to try to go towards that shorter path. So
sure thing.
it takes all paths.
All right, let's go ahead and knock the myth out this week.
All right, let's do it.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
So right away, David has a really good comment that says there seems to be a difference between grounding and the return path to the source. So a difference in potential is always ungood. Like, you do not want to have a difference in potential. So that's what King James is talking about, going back to one path. So thanks for joining Myth of the Week this week. This is myth number 167. MC 90-degree connectors are not required to be accessible after installation because because they're not considered to be a pull point. And this is the 2023 NEC. Dude, you would not believe how many times I've heard people say this. Like, they have screws on the back of them. They have points that you could take the cable out or whatever. This needs to be accessible. That is 100% false. This is busted, 100% busted. You do not have to have access for a 90-degree MC connector. This is not considered a pull point per the 2020 NEC, the 2017 NEC, the 2023 NEC. So I wanted to do this one really bad because I've heard this so many times. People, like, when I was an apprentice, like, oh man, you can't use a 90-degree connector inside a wall because it's not accessible. And that is 100% false, 100% busted. And this one's really easy for me, but you might have some things that go on this one. Or
I just look at sections of the code, and
right.
You know, you go over, the only place I even mention anything about a fitting in 330.30A for MC is basically they say the fitting shall be permitted as a means of cable support. That's it. But where you really pick this up is you want to look over in 300.15. And if you notice in that second paragraph, it talks about fittings and connectors, and it says they shall be used only with specific wiring methods for which they are designed and listed. And it says where the wiring method is conduit, tubing, type AC, type MC, type MI cable, blah, 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 blah. It says a box or conduit body shall be installed at each outlet point. Okay? And then it goes through all the other different types.
Yeah, so FMC is considered a pull point, so FMC would have to be accessible.
That's right. And that's why I read this here, because when I get to F, listen to what it says. A fitting identified for the use shall be permitted in lieu of a box or conduit body where conductors are not spliced or terminated within the fitting. And then it tells you the fitting shall be accessible after installation unless listed for concealed installation.
So guess what? You'll love this. The reason I posted this, because we have a code change for 2026 and they don't say that anymore.
I know. I know. And I wonder why. Maybe they've been watching our podcast and that's why they don't require it anymore.
Guess whose public input it was?
I don't know. Start with a B.
Mr. Brian Jackson. So I thought it was pretty funny when I saw that. I was like, really? I was like, now you can just have a transition fitting all you want. As long as you don't splice in it or use it as a pull point, then you don't need it to be accessible. So he was all about it last cycle. Now all of a sudden he's against it. So it's cool. Whatever. Well, we got these flip-floppers.
I've said that over and over for a while now. There's a lot of flip-floppers. They're saying one thing, then they go to another thing, and then they act like they never said it. And,
yeah.
And that's something, that's, we do our podcast live. And you ask questions of me, I answer it right then. It's there for everybody to see what my opinion is.
I never claimed that I am perfect every time. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly challenging the code, constantly challenging. So just so you know, I'm not challenging you from like a code standpoint. I'm challenging you from like maybe a NFL football standpoint. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, how the Broncos gonna do against the Cowboys on like the 26th of October? It has nothing to do. Like it's not personal. You know what I mean? It's about like, hey, we're dudes. You know what I mean? Like we like football. Like we like competing. It has nothing to do with like.
I'm just gonna say, Cowboys are a secondary team to me. The one I care about's the Longhorns, and that's in 2 days. And hey,
dude, everyone knows we are on week 0 right now. Week 0 of football. So
I've got so many people coming over to the house Saturday, and I'm making burrito tacos and chicken tinga tacos, guacamole, cheese sauce, elotes, beans, and then I'll have guacamole and cheese sauce, all that stuff. And that's
Nice.
before when the game's all on. Then after the game, we'll have all the tacos and stuff. But I've already started cooking today. Got the burrito going. Tomorrow I'm going to do the chicken tinga tacos, get those ready. And then when I'll get up.
Oh, dude, yeah, you got some awesome sauce up in the house, bro.
Oh, I'm so pumped up for football season. And what a game to start college football off with Texas and Ohio State. That's going to be a freaking awesome game.
So just so everyone knows, this is week 0 in football. So there is no week 1 with football. It starts week 0. So what you have to know is if Texas loses, it doesn't count. So just giving everybody a heads up, if Texas loses, it didn't count because it's week 0. So I'm just giving you an out, bro. Just giving you an out. Just in case.
They're going to whip that ass. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go to the Willie Quiz and get that out of the way.
All right, let's do it. Dude, thanks so much, Adam, for making me that intro. Thanks so much, everyone, joining us every week for the Willie Quiz. It's so much fun. And this week, I think you are going to have a blast with question number 1. Which U.S. state holds the record for the fastest wind speed ever recorded at ground level in a tornado? Is it A, Oklahoma? Is it B, New Hampshire? Is it C, Colorado? Is it D, Texas? Is it E, Alaska? Good luck, everyone. Oh, it's not a tornado.
I'm going to wait for everybody to answer because I know the answer to this.
So, not a tornado is key on this one. So, my bad.
But
you know the answer. I think we already did this one before.
No, I don't think we've done this, and I'm going to tell you why I know this. Is I was up, the first trip I ever did up in Alaska, I was up on the North Slope. And when I stepped off, it was like 38 below. I mean, it was freaking. I never experienced anything like that. But anyway, one evening, I've been there about 3 days. I was there for 7, I think. Anyway, you couldn't even see outside. And I said, man, it's snowing like hell out there. And they said, no, that's the wind blowing across. That's whitening everything out. And I said, God, I said, man, y'all must have the highest wind speeds. I said, I've never seen anything like that. And they said, we actually have the second highest wind speed on record. The first one was the highest recorded, and it was like 1915 or something like that. It was in New Hampshire, of all places.
Oh, all right. Well, it looks like you were copying Daniel's answer tonight, and you were going to take New Hampshire. Oh man, I don't even have my drum roll in here. Oh man. So let's just see.
It's right.
You guys are correct. So I'm gonna have to throw my drum roll in here. Man, I can't believe I don't even have it in my soundboard yet. But
no worries.
Yeah, you guys are correct. All right, question 2. Canada's deadliest tornado on record in 1912, killing over 25 people. Which city did it devastate? Was it A, Toronto, Ontario? Was it B, Regina, Saskatchewan? Was it C, Calgary, Alberta? Was it D, Winnipeg, Manitoba? Or was it E, Edmonton, Alberta? Good luck, everyone.
Well, this is an interesting one because I remember something. I don't think there was a big one in Ontario or Alberta, so I think it's Manitoba or Saskatchewan. Regina was a smaller area. So
dude,
it
like, was there a
as many.
tornado? Was there a tornado by Adam? Like, Adam would have said something, don't you think?
Manitoba, Winnipeg's a big city. I'm going with smaller city here, and I've never heard of Regina, but I'll go Regina because that's only 25 people. I mean, you get a bad
20?
tornado coming through one of those
25?
towns, it'd be more than that. So I'll go
25?
Regina.
Oh man, all right.
Regina, Saskatchewan.
Well, looks like you are copying Daniel.
I have no idea if I'm not.
You guys are correct.
Really?
So it was called the Regina Cyclone in 1912.
Oh, they call them cyclones there, huh?
Yeah, they're different. They're Canadian tornadoes.
Well, see, when I made that decision, it was based on not being as big of a city.
There was actually a pretty big one in Calgary, Alberta, too. So
was there? See, I was trying to think. There was a
that was the second one.
Bad tornado come through. That has more population. I think it'd kill more. So, okay.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
so
I know this one.
A U.S. city with the average number of tornadoes per year is located in what state? A, Texas, B, Kansas, C, Oklahoma, D, Florida, or E, Iowa? Good luck, everyone.
All right.
All right. Daniel is going with C.
That is a good, because I mean, you look at Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, it's like Tornado Alley through here. But if I'm not mistaken, Texas has more per year than any other.
If you're not mistaken.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think we get a bunch of tornadoes every year. And Oklahoma, I'll say this, Texas gets more tornadoes, but Kansas and Oklahoma get more devastating tornadoes.
If King James is not mistaken, Daniel could take the lead. King James is mistaken. It's Florida is the answer. So, boom, 2 bad answers. We still have a tie game. And I know that Daniel and you actually said that's been rigged. So I put the tiebreaker question in when I sent you the quiz. So you have a tiebreaker question too. So This is going to be interesting tonight.
I
if we have a
didn't.
tie.
I didn't put the tiebreaker in here.
All right, I can go find it. All right, so question number 4. In February 2021, a polar vortex caused massive power outages across Texas. The coldest temperature recorded during the event was closest to A, 9 degrees, B, -2 degrees, C, -11 degrees, D, -23 degrees, E, -31 degrees. Good luck, everyone.
Now I know this, and the reason I know this one because it happened right here in DFW. Is where it took place. It wasn't another part of Texas. It was literally right here in DFW.
I was going to tell you that this was based on DFW airport statistics, but
Well, yeah,
Daniel,
I know I was here when it happened.
Daniel is going
It's correct.
B.
It was 2 under. That's the coldest it's got. He's right. It's 2 degrees.
We have 2 good answers. So, oh man, I cannot believe that Daniel knew that and King James knew that. That's freaking amazing. That's pretty cool. You know, dude, as long as you copy Daniel's answers, you're gonna get it right. So, you know, I mean, too bad you were there and just witnessed it while you're copying Daniel's answer.
I knew that 100% because I was here when that happened, and it was freaking cold, dude. I was like, God dang.
All right. Canada's coldest recorded temperature of -81 Fahrenheit happened in which territory? A, Yukon, B, Nunavut, C, Northwest Territories, D, British Columbia, or E, Saskatchewan. Good luck, everyone. I think I had like a typo on that B one. I think it's Nanuit.
I don't know much about Canada, but I've been there about 10 times, and the one that's pointing out to me where it gets really cold is up in the Yukon.
Right.
That's up. I think the Yukon's where it gets the coldest. I don't think it's Saskatchewan or British Columbia. Because they're more British Columbia is on the western end, the Northwest Territories on the, and I've never heard of none of it, but I've heard of Yukon. So
and Nanuit is more of like a Eskimo territory. You know, but it looks like a typo. Like I must have sent it to you wrong because it says like Nanuit and it's like Nanuit or something. I don't know. I said it wrong, but Daniel is going. A, Yukon. That is very interesting. We have a tie tonight. We are going to have to go to our tiebreaker question. So,
okay.
I want to say it was in the early 1900s. There was a record-breaking snowstorm in Colorado, in a place called Cold Lake, Colorado, and it was a record-breaking snowfall. And what? So closest one wins. What was the snowfall amount in inches? Good luck.
I
Tiebreaker
remember.
contestants.
I remember something about this, and it was like 6 foot of snow. I'll say it was like 6'3". It was over 6 foot. I remember there was this huge snow thing that took place in Colorado, and it produced right over 6 foot. I don't remember the amount, but I'll go 6'3".
All right, so I'm gonna go look at the. Okay, so you're saying like 60. What, like 67 inches?
72, 75 inches.
All right, 75 inches is what you're saying.
I just know it was over 6 foot. I don't remember how much.
So let's see. I'm looking over here. So Daniel's going 72.
Okay.
Daniel's going exactly 6 foot.
Okay.
It was 79 inches. King James wins. Did not go over. He finally, legitimately wins a championship. So, oh my goodness!
Take your ass home, Daniel. I'm getting ready for football season. That's why I won.
Oh man, I cannot believe it. The first time Daniel gets crushed, it was perfect. That was perfect answer, Daniel. Because he was like 6 foot. I don't want to go over 6 foot, but it was actually 79 or we said like 72 was 6 foot, right?
Well, I just.
So I think it was 79 inches. So you had.
Yeah,
you were
I
really
said
close.
6'3". You know, I knew it was over 6 foot. I was guessing.
Yeah, so you had 75 inches. It was actually 79 inches.
Yeah, I just knew it was over 6 foot. I didn't remember how much, but I remember 6 foot. I knew it wasn't over 7, so I knew it had to be in between there.
Dude, thanks so much, Daniel, for hanging out with us. And like I say, you can't always get a dub against the King James. So now he's going to be doing cookies out in his parking lot and put his little crown on his vehicle. Like, as always, out of tradition, I have the pickle shop for Adam.
That's going to be better for you tonight.
So awesome. Thanks so much, everyone, for participating. We're thinking about doing a debate with Weed Man next week. I think it'll be fun. You tell me, Daniel, if you think it'd be fun. He wants to argue with us about stuff he knows nothing about, and I'm down.
Sounds fun to me.
I'm like, that's cool. Like, dude, he wants to argue, like, why you shouldn't join the union, Like, it's pretty easy. Like, if you lose your job, you can't go work for any other company but union, okay, like, that's pretty obvious.
Well, back when I was coming through, there was a big difference, and the training and everything. But now, I'm just going to tell you, I see Faith Technologies, a lot of other different apprenticeship programs out there. They got good programs. They're teaching good. These kids are learning. And we're about to have a big influx that's going to be coming in the way Trump's moving and everything with it. And they're really focusing. I was watching a thing the other day. They opened up a new one, and they had so many kids applying everything that they're going to have to build more because, these kids are like, the trades are freaking awesome, man. And becoming an electrician is a great deal. It ain't, college ain't all it's cracked up to be, and learning the trade's good for you. And you know, it doesn't matter if you're non-union, you're making good money, you know,
True.
and, you know, it's just totally different today than what it was back then. So,
True.
and that was back in
All
the
right.
80s. So, all right, you ready to do tool of the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by Electrician's Only Tool Review and Nipex Tradesman.
Hey, move on to the next segment. I gotta do something real quick. I got.
Oh, okay. Let me remove this. Well, I'm not going to go into topic of the week because we're way behind. We got into all that other stuff. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and we'll move in and we'll do man versus machine. Get it out of the way. All right.
For years, man tried to create artificial intelligence. On this segment, we find out, is AI smarter than King James?
All right. Well, looking at this week, let's pull this up and see just exactly what Bill has for the question of the week. So,
Parsons just traded officially to the Packers for 2 first-round picks.
no kidding. Okay. Well, I'll be talking about that here in just a second. Okay. All right. Well, looking at this, let's see what the question says here. All luminaires shall be marked with a maximum lamp wattage or electric luminaire supply conductors.
Yeah, sorry about that. My smoke alarm started going off, and
No worries.
like I didn't want all the dogs on here to just go ballistic.
Yeah.
I know my dogs go ballistic.
I'm sitting here looking at this, and this is 60 degrees. I see why you're asking that. You almost tried to do like a little trick there.
True.
And, but yeah, that's 60 degrees C is what I've got it at. And
You are correct. You actually stumped ChatGTP. ChatGTP says 90 degrees C, but I don't know why ChatGTP would say that because, like, what did you think about that trick part?
well, it's the way that it's asked, because if you look at it, because you're talking about the supply conductors, naturally you're going to think based on the conductors that are going over feeding the branch circuit will be 90 degrees C. So most people
True.
naturally would think that that'd be 90 degrees C.
True.
And I'm trying to remember, I don't really remember the section on that. It's in 410,
True.
but golly, what was the section
It's like
there?
410, like 118 or something. Like, it's kind of high. It's kind of a high number. It's 418 something, like maybe 410, 18, 410, like 97 or something. It's kind of a high number. But the thing that's so awesome about this
I thought
is that,
I think it's 80, isn't it? Like
yeah,
410, 80. I think it's A or B. I can't remember.
We could go over the link and find it.
Yeah, let me go
but
pull it up and go ahead and talk. I'm
but-
gonna go pull it up.
The thing that's so funny about this is that I posted the code exactly word for word. Why am I not in NFPA jail right now? That's weird. You'd think I'd be put in NFPA jail for using the code word for word. All I did was take out the answer of whatever degrees, C, like, why can't you do that? Why can't you use the code word for word? I just don't get that. Like, I don't get why these people think they sit on this high moral compass where you can just you can paraphrase the code because you're a certain person, and it's just ridiculous. Like, it's a code and standard. You should be able to say this is what it says word for word. Like, if I changed a word on that, it wouldn't mean the same thing.
It was 410 ADA. I just found it.
There you go. Yeah, that sounded right. I knew it was high up there a little bit.
All right, let me share the screen here, and we'll see what ChatGPT thinks.
I'm guessing that ChatGPT gets it wrong, but I don't know, because it might be tuning in to our podcast now, and it might be getting it right this time. But
well,
I tell you what makes
says.
it confused is the multiple choice.
Nope, it went to 75 degrees C.
Ah!
And it referenced 410 130 G1. I'm going to have to tell it it's wrong.
Wow. Man, that's incredible. I knew it.
All right, I'm going to write it up.
Gotcha, ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, you're going to have to pick it up. That would be incorrect.
Dude, that increases your record. Dude, ChatGPT is not even holding a candle to you, bro. I mean, even if it's 2-1, even if they get one right, you get two, or they get one wrong, you get two right. It's not even close.
Let's see what it says. Thinking longer for a better answer. It's reaffirming correct answer and everything, checking to see if it's right. So here, you're right. What's the need? Oh, it's actually trying to learn now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually trying to learn. Okay.
That's cool.
I mean, it's rationalizing why that is.
Okay.
I got no problem with that.
Do you want to go back to tool review?
Yeah.
Sorry about that, folks. I had one time I was on a podcast and the fire alarm went off, and the smoke alarm went off. It was
no worries.
All right, so this is one of the newer DeWalt stackable combos that's out. I really love this. This is probably one of the most versatile toolboxes that you can get. Honestly, I really want to rock one of these. It's really cool. It's stackable. You can buy your little sections. The drawers roll out. The thing that's really cool about this, the wheels are really sturdy. They're really, one of the guys had one of these and we were checking it out, and I mean, we were jumping on top of it and trying to see what the wheels could take, and those wheels are strong as hell. You could put an engine on top of that and roll it across the job site. It's strong as hell. I was really impressed. There were so many things that I really liked about this. The drawers roll out really nice. It's lockable, so you could just put your tools in there, lock it, and then you could just leave it on the job site, lock it to something. I thought that was really cool, really robust. I don't think there's a way to break this thing. It's about $1,000, so that's kind of in the range of what I would be thinking for some kind of tool like this. But honestly, I really like it. It's one of the new tools that DeWalt rolled out with, kind of almost like a mechanic style toolbox. But honestly, it's really cool. You could even buy the wheels separate and just use them with whatever DeWalt platform you have. So that's kind of another cool thing I like. DeWalt's trying to make it to where you could just buy different things and just interchange them with your DeWalt platform. So that's another cool part I really like about it. But
Is that
altogether-
$1,000 with the tools in it?
You know what? They actually have Milwaukee ones that you could get on like Auction Up and all this other stuff that is just that. It's the whole thing with tools in it. I just have never been able to buy one, you know. So, yeah, and dude, that's so cool, John. Dude, John's like, yeah, man, this is exciting, dude. Like, honestly, I was blown away when they were all sitting there saying, "Oh man, did you know that they're using transcripts from your podcast at the NFPA hearings?" I was like, "What?" You know, I was like, "That's cool." And then they showed the transcript, and it was like me going, "Yep, I agree." You know, like so, like King James is the one doing all the talking. You know, but it was pretty cool. So. Yeah, I would recommend this to my friends, and like I say, I really like this as a new kind of tool coming out. If it was me, I would probably buy like the starter kit and then get the wheels for this, and then kind of build up from there, you know. But that's just kind of how I would do it. But pretty cool tool. So.
All right. Well, that's why we do them. Show different tools that are coming out and see what everybody likes.
Yeah, you know, like I say, for a mechanic's like setup tool, you could probably buy the same thing for maybe like $200 in like a different brand. Like maybe you could get it in Milwaukee, like you go on like OfferUp or you know, all these different websites. You know, you might be able to buy that same thing for, you know, $200. I don't know, but
Sure.
It's like $1,000 brand new, so a little pricey. But
All right. Well, we got
So
one more
you're
thing we're
skipping-
going to do tonight. Yeah, well, it's our. I mean, time we finish this, we're going to be close to 2 hours.
okay.
So let's go ahead and get the wall of shame popped up.
Shame. 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 Shame.
So I knew you would love this one. Is one of my favorites. Right when I saw it, I was like, "Boom! This is King James all over." This is at a hardware store too.
Wow.
You know, so like I don't know how this happens. Like, does this happen at the like manufacturer or something? Like, I don't get it. Like, so if you guys can't see the picture, like I know sometimes I'll comment on some of these, and you have to kind of like look at it like closer. It has like it's a tandem 30-30 whatever, but one of the breakers is marked 50. So what does that mean for the entire device? You know, does that mean that it's a tandem 30-30-30 and they just misprinted a 50 on there? Or does that mean that it's supposed to be a 50-30-30? What, you know? So I don't know. To me, honestly, this kind of brings a lot of shade into companies like Eaton, Schneider, all this stuff with like their quality control, and like, wow, are you guys really putting this out like this? Like, how are we supposed to be wired? You know, this comes into that whole thing when we're talking about liability. Are you going to blame the code for this? You know, are you going to say, oh, the code says I have to have a 50, but man, I looked at it, it was a 30-50.
That's something I've never seen.
Yeah.
That before.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, I don't know how that happens. A lot of people call it like Photoshop pictures, but this looks like it's straight out of the box. Like it looks like it's right at the hardware store. So,
Yeah.
Thanks so much, you know, Neil, for, you know, submitting that to the Electrical Wall of Shame.
Yeah.
That's really cool because that is shame. And it mostly comes back to manufacturers with their quality control. Like, that should not be put in there. But dude, I'll tell you what, bro. What I'm so proud of is that they are like, wow, we need to come in there and say how much of a dummy that Bill and King James are at the Standards Council, and it don't seem like it's going that good for them.
I'll say, apparently nobody was laughing. The only ones that are laughing apparently are the breaker manufacturers and stuff, but they have to argue against what was said. So
I don't know.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready to go eat, brother. I'm hungry.
Honestly, I really appreciate everyone coming and joining us every week. It means a lot. Thanks so much. We had like a lot of viewers come in here tonight, and as always, remember, make every day an easy day. I'm out. Thanks so much, King James. Go Cowboys against the Eagles.
I have breaking news for you.
Okay.
The Cowboys just traded Micah Parsons to Green Bay for 2 first-round picks.
Whoa.
I knew you'd like that one.
Yeah. All right. So, on the next Monday Morning Coach, we will critique that trade.
All right. Everybody enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the start of football season. We'll see y'all next Thursday.
Go Fantasy.